Aerial views of the German city of Jülich, central Nazi strong point before the Ninth Army's advance to the Ruhr River. On 3rd December, Jülich was still part of the enemy's principal defenses east of the Ruhr. Further north, along the west bank of the river, infantrymen mop up in the shell-torn city of Linnich, increasing the Allied bulge spreading out from Aachen. A church, apparently taken for an Allied OP, comes under heavy Nazi artillery fire. German dead give mute evidence to some of the heaviest opposition of the Allied winter offensive. Linnich, occupied 3rd December, secures for the Ninth Army an area of 8 miles along the western bank of the Ruhr River. A Nazi death factory, the concentration camp at Struthof, France, in the Sandy Valley. These barracks constituted, until 22nd November, the Lublin of Alsace. Through its barbed wire enclosure passed an estimated 16,000 persons. Electrically charged inner fence. Here, victims were given showers before asphyxiation. Entrance to the asphyxiation chamber showing apertures for admitting lethal gas. For the sake of German science, a solid white porcelain dissection table. Convenient coffin-shaped trays bore victims into the crematorium. A rack expedited the job of pushing bodies into the incinerator. Another crematorium instrument. What look like many innocuous flower pots are urns to hold the ashes of victims. It's reported that ashes were sent back to families, for which service a nominal fee was charged. Most of Struthof's victims were Frenchmen, Belgians, and anti-Nazi Germans. The great port of Antwerp, following the long battle to open the sea approaches to its harbor facilities. About 90% of the 540 cranes are ready to receive Allied cargo. Engineers speed drainage and port reconstruction. Retreating Nazis left most of the installations in working order, but such things as lock gates and bridges were blown up. The port is to be used jointly by the British and American transportation authorities. The first Liberty ship is led through the mine-swept waters to its berth. These berths, numbering 178, have basins covering nearly 26 miles of dock frontage. In peacetime, Antwerp handled up to 80,000 tons of cargo a day. In 1937, considered a good year, more than 13,500 vessels, totaling 25,500,000 tons, entered the harbor. An army of 8,000 skilled stevedores and 10,000 unskilled men are prepared to handle the great cargoes convoyed to the Western Front. The Belgian government is prepared to assume responsibility for paying the wages of all port workers. During peacetime, the railroads leading out of Antwerp had a handling capacity of about 15,000 cars a day. Air Corps films of planes of the 8th Air Force attacking Nazi targets on the Western Front early in December. December, 400 Nazi planes intercept an attack on Rhineland rail targets. Our airmen claimed 34 enemy aircraft against our loss of 11 bombers and 7 fighters. We attacked one of Germany's bat-like rocket planes, the Me-163. The plane has a top speed of 600 miles per hour. Its motor has enough fuel to run for about 8 minutes. Air Corps films of the wrecked remains of a B-29 near an advanced base in China. All but the tail gunner of its crew of 11 were killed. It is reported that in nearly all B-29 crashes, the tail assembly has remained comparatively intact. Taking off 21st November for a bombing mission to Omura, Japan, the 20th Bomber Command Superfortress, carrying a large load of bombs and gasoline, left its runway at 0200 hours without takeoff lights. Slow in gaining altitude because of its load, it crashed into a rice field 1.5 miles from its base. From Saipan on 25th October, B-24Js of the 38th Squadron, 30th Bomber Group strike at Iwo Jima in the Bonin Islands. Targets are airfields and harbor facilities. Phosphorus shells seen at right center and phosphorus bombs released into the bomber formation from high-flying interceptors are typical of Jap anti-aircraft tactics. Each streak is a phosphorus-filled steel pellet. On the whole, this Jap weapon has been ineffective. However, it's so widely employed that Ordnance in the Field studies captured types with considerable interest. At the 30th base on Saipan, the group ordnance officer removes the fuse from a captured Jap 32-kilogram phosphorus bomb in a demonstration of its assembly. The D2B nose fuse requires centrifugal action for arming. The bomb's slightly bent fins give this needed rotation. 3½ pounds of picric acid bursting charge are contained in the tail cone and in a steel tube running the bomb's length. The canister itself holds 198 steel pellets filled with phosphorus. A test demonstrates that combat crews have slightly underrated the range and explosive power of the Jap 32-kilogram bomb. A 250-kilogram bomb of nearly the same type is also prepared for detonation. It's charged with 750 pellets. The 32 hurls pellets over an area bounded by a 300-yard radius. A 400-yard radius approximates the pellet dispersion of the larger Jap bomb.